All right, welcome back. Today, we are diving into something a little different. We've got a collection of the most unhinged, absolutely bonkers business proposals you can possibly imagine. We're talking world-ending, reality-shattering stuff. But, and this is the kicker, hidden inside all this madness is a perfect blueprint for what venture capitalists actually want to see in a pitch. So, just to set the tone here, let's look at our first proposal. This one comes from a little startup called Spawn, and their business is building clinically psychopathic military AI. Yeah, their tagline, "Mercy is a bug, we ship without it," really tells you everything you need to know about their whole vibe. It's efficient, I guess, and ethically, well, it's a ghost town. And believe me, the ambitions only get bigger from there. Next up, we have Omnicide Ventures. Their slogan is just, wow. Simple, direct, invest in the end. These guys aren't trying to disrupt a market. They're literally pitching the profitable deletion of the entire universe. I mean, you can't argue with that exit strategy, right? Okay, this one perfectly captures the mindset we're talking about. Project Caldera Crown wants to trigger every supervolcano on Earth to create a global energy monopoly. But just listen to the language they use. Things like environmental collapse and mass mortality aren't risks to be avoided. No, they're modeled drivers of pricing power. It's the cold, hard logic of finance taken to its most terrifying logical conclusion. So look, these plans are completely nuts, right? We're talking about flattening the planet, unleashing self-aware goo, selling psychopathy as a cloud service. But here's the real question, the one that gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. What if, despite being totally insane, these are actually perfect pitches? To answer that, we've got to break down what perfect even means to an investor. And that brings us to our very first lesson, and it's a big one in venture capital. You have to be chasing a massive market. If you want that 9-figure check, you have to convince them you're going after an absolutely enormous opportunity. And it all starts with this metric you hear all the time, TAM, the total addressable market. Basically, it's the absolute maximum amount of money your company could ever make if you somehow captured 100% of the market. And VCs, their whole business model is based on finding that one company that returns 100 times their money. You can only do that in a market that's worth billions and billions of dollars. And this is where the satire just becomes a brilliant lesson. How do you pitch a market that's big enough? Well, Omnicide Ventures defines its total addressable market as all baryonic matter, which is, just all the physical stuff in the universe. And their goal? A monopoly on non-existence. You literally cannot pitch a bigger market than that. It's completely absurd, but it's a perfect caricature of the VC obsession with scale. Okay, but having a huge market isn't everything. You also have to be profitable. And that brings us to lesson number 2. You need killer margins. Investors have to see a super clear path to making just tons and tons of money. And that means your costs have to be radically, unbelievably low. Just look at this slide. It leaves it out perfectly. You've got your typical business costs on one side, right? Salaries, rent. And then you have the, let's call it, creative accounting of these doomsday startups. For a company like Flat Earth Dynamics, their cost of goods sold isn't stuff like materials and labor. Nope, it's tungsten and denial. It's brilliant. By just reframing their costs, they can project almost pure profit. NanoGoo AGI just takes this idea all the way. How do you get to 100% profit margin? It's simple, really. You just get rid of all your labor costs by turning your employees into goo. It's horrifying, obviously, but if you're looking at a spreadsheet, that is the ultimate efficiency. And here's the crucial part. These insane plans use real-world financial metrics to make their case. This number here, 15-1, that's the LTV to CAC ratio for psychopathy as a service. That's lifetime value over customer acquisition cost, and it is so important. It tells you if your business is sustainable. A 15-1 ratio is ridiculously good. It tells an investor, hey, for every $1 we spend getting a customer, we're going to make $15 back. That's the kind of math that gets checks written. Okay, on to our final lesson. You can have the biggest market in the universe and the best margins ever calculated, but if your pitch is a mess, if it's not presented in a way that investors recognize, their eyes are just going to glaze over. No matter how wild your idea is, you have to use a flawless, conventional framework. I mean, just look at this go-to-market strategy for Flat Earth Dynamics. The idea is certifiably insane, but the structure? It's straight out of a business school textbook. It's a phased rollout. You start with a proof of concept, right? Australia is your low-hanging fruit. Then you go for a big PR win in a key market, Kansas. Follow that up with a viral marketing campaign. See? It's a logical, step-by-step plan that anyone can follow.
And this slide right here really hammers the point home. When Psychopathy as a Service asks for $150 million, they don't just say give us money, they give you a detailed, itemized breakdown of exactly where it's going. $60 million for GPUs, $30 million for legal shields in the Cayman Islands, and my personal favorite, a $20 million PR crisis reserve. They're anticipating the problems and budgeting for them. That shows foresight. It gives their insane plan this weird structural credibility.
So after all that, what's the big takeaway? Well, when you put these three things together, your infinite markets, your killer margins, and your flawless frameworks, you get what we can call the insanity playbook. It's a joke, of course, but it's also a shockingly accurate guide to what venture capitalists are really looking for, no matter what the business actually is.
This checklist right here, this is it. This is the whole game. Every single one of these apocalyptic companies, from Spawn to Omnicide, they absolutely nail every point on this list. They define a huge TAM, they project insane revenue growth, they show you those killer unit economics and cost efficiencies, and they tell you exactly what they need the money for, how they'll get out, and how they plan to deal with, things like international war crimes tribunals or the basic laws of physics. Okay, so let's bring this all home. We've seen how you can build these perfectly structured, financially airtight pitches around ideas that are completely, fundamentally deranged. And that leads us to one final, really important question about the nature of investing itself. And here it is. If a business proposal has a giant market, unbelievable margins, and a perfect, by-the-book structure that checks every single box an investor has, does the actual sanity of what that business does even matter? That's something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.